Ladies and gentlemen, would you like to learn how to fix this?
Right. So what we're looking at here is a mistake in a 6-stitch cable right there. If you can tell down below, it's supposed to cross over. So the mistake is right about here. So we're going to take a cable needle, find the appropriate row, and pick up the right side of each stitch. And this can be kind of complicated to do because they like to hide in there, especially this one. So then, just gonna pick these guys up. And it is okay if you accidentally don't get the right stitch. It's easily fixable. So then you take your other needle and you're just going to slip a few stitches onto it. You're going to do this purlwise, or you will just get twisted stitches, and that is no fun. So then to here, that's where the cable starts. Here's a little bit of scary part. We're literally going to take these 6 stitches off the needle. Like so. And then, sorry for my reach, we're going to take another needle. It can be a DPN, can be another cable needle, whatever really works. And we're going to take out the yarn like so. Just going as if to make one, and then ripping backwards. The one right next to your cable needle that you put in is usually the weirdest one to get because it gets kind of tight. So now that we've ripped out back to the row that had the mistake, we're going to put this needle in front of this needle so that the cable will follow the rest of how this works, like how it is here. So, resume. Okay, so by doing this, what I'm going to do is take this needle here, and we're really gonna pull this one through because we don't want to lose stitches. And we're going to find the yarn that is the next one up. As you can see, there are 4 yarns here, so we're going to go with this bottom one. And we want to work with the gray needle. So we take this, and like we would normally go to knit, we go into this first stitch on the gray needle, right there. And then we take that yarn that was the bottom yarn, wrap it around as usual, and then pull it through. It might try to be kind of loose on you. That's perfectly fine. Just find the yarn and cinch it down, and you're good. Sometimes I will actually hold it up like that, like I'm just knitting, and it works too. And then we go on to the next stitch and pull that through. And then this last one, you really kind of have to wrench it around sometimes. It can get pretty tight. So then those 3 stitches are done. So we're going to put that needle aside. Moving on to the next 3, so we can get that cable to actually be a cable. Go in, and you wrap it around, and just off. Very similar to just regular knitting. It's just more like short rows. Now sometimes here it can get pretty tight, with the yarn you're working with. It doesn't always want to go over the top. Sometimes it really gets cinched down and just hides entirely, and in those cases you have to really argue with it. So now that we have those like that, you can see there's a little bit of give here. We're gonna pull at it to loosen up the stitches themselves so you don't have big gaps on either side. As you get further in the project and past this area as well, you'll be able to like really pull on it more like this sort of thing, and that way you'll be able to get a lot more give. So now we're actually going to use this needle predominantly, because we're just going to be doing 3 rows of knitting and don't have to worry about the cables. So I'm going to slip them off onto my left hand needle and make sure they're all twisted in the correct direction. And then I'm gonna have to find the next yarn. So that would be this guy right here. So I'm gonna hold them up with this finger, go in to knit, and just pick it through. Easiest way to do this guy. And then make sure you get all the stitches. And then again, it's going to be a little loose, but as you play with it, it will cinch up and you won't have a hole. And we're just gonna slip them all off again and not go into the stitch below on accident.
Okay, thank you so much. He just was here earlier and he picked up.
So now we're going to go with the next row. Make sure you get the correct yarn. That is this guy. And again, we're just gonna pick that through. And the higher you go up, the tighter it tends to get as well, because it's starting to recognize the pattern that the rest of the stitches have. You can see those are a little bit loose. We'll play with them in a bit and cinch them tight. Now I'll just go back 6 stitches one last time, just like before, but this time we only have 1, so we don't really have to search or anything for the next one. Just picking that through again, and getting my finger stuck. Make sure not to accidentally grab the stitch below, because that can really screw it up, like it's trying to do to me right now. And then one last one, and this is where you'll see it getting really tight. The yarn I want is actually right here, so I'm gonna have to carefully hold that up, grab it, pull it through, and that is where you have all of that done. So you're just going to slip it back again, make sure all of your stitches are in the right direction, and this last row will feel pretty tight. They usually do at this point. So
Do you take something for?
go. Okay. And so just finishing slipping these guys back to the same needle, putting that one down. You put it on your cable for this part, and you just really mess with this area. it'll also block out as you work. So there you go. All better.